What is going on, YouTube? Northeast Ohio Sports Cards here for the Sunday morning show. The week in review, where we touch on all three major sports, a little bit of news sometimes, a little bit of shout outs, just it's the check-in show. See what's going on in the wonderful world, talk about some stuff. A couple things, some housekeeping stuff. One, thank you. Hit 8K subs. Well on the way to the 10K milestone. Two, went to the Canton, Ohio new sports card show presented by Rated Rips yesterday. Good show. Got some video from it. It will be posting early next week, probably on Tuesday. I do not remember everyone's name, but shout out to the people that came up to me, talked to me, about 4, 5, 6 of you guys that came up, had little chats. It was great. Good to meet some people, get some faces with masks, whole 9 yards. But everyone was super friendly. Everyone was super great. Vendors were cool. I don't want to spoil anything for the video, so I won't get into any potential, did I make any deals? Did I buy anything? Etc. Etc. You will see that when the video drops on Tuesday. As you are listening to this, I am probably roaming around the Strongsville, Ohio Holiday Inn. There is a show there on Sunday today, depending on when you're watching this, that I will be attending most likely, assuming everything goes well. I'm recording this late Saturday night. And once again, I will be shooting video at that. So the plan is any shows in the local area, which would be Cleveland, Akron, Canton, Youngstown, maybe Columbus. I went to the Columbus show once a month or two ago. Not a fan. I didn't like the location. It was super cramped. But all the Cleveland, Canton ones, Hartville, are all halfway decent, all relatively close to me. I could get to them all within anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending. So I will continue to peruse those and get some video from them. I am quickly approaching the channel being 1 year old. May is when the channel will be 1 year old. So what a journey it has been in a year. I haven't decided what, if anything, I'm going to do for 1 year, for like a birthday or anything for the channel, maybe a live stream or something. I don't know if I'm going to plan on any giveaways or anything. I'm not usually. I like to earn my subscribers through the content, not through giving you guys and girls stuff. But I don't know. Maybe we'll do a giveaway or something. Maybe I'll save some of that stuff for 10K. I don't know. But at minimum, probably a live stream. I have to look at the exact day the first video went up. Don't go by those first couple of videos. Whoo-wee. Bad audio quality. And boy, did I not have any idea what I was doing. So that's coming up. 10K is coming up. Probably, if I had to bet on 10K subscribers, I'm going to say mid to late May, if I had to guess. So all fun stuff. Once again, thank all of you for the support that you've shown the channel. Once again, it was great meeting people yesterday at the card show. And with all that being said, like, comment, sub, and let's get into this week's video. Sorry for the longer than normal channel shenanigans, but let's rock and roll. A lot of baseball today. Gonna touch on football and just kind of have a broad basis talk about NBA. And then we will also be doing the Sunday spotlights, where I highlight a channel that I enjoy watching, typically in the collecting world. We're going to shift off sports cards today, though. Spoiler alert. Let's get into it. Baseball. Acuna. I could have picked pretty much any card printed with his name on it, and it has probably gone up anywhere from 15 to 35%, if not more, depending on the card. So we're going to run through what I believe are his three main cards. I mean, obviously there's a bunch of different variations and all that stuff, but what I feel are his three primary cards. One is Bat Down. This is the super expensive one. Super short printed. There's only 461 of them in a PSA 10. And this thing, as of recording Saturday night, last sale was at $3,400 a couple of days ago. I could tell you right now, this number will be going up, and it will be going up a lot. There's a PWCC auction, I believe, currently running, I just looked at this. Yes, there is an hour and a half left. It is at 4K with 48 bids on it. I'm curious to see where that ends. So, yeah, that number is not going to last. And you can see the PSA 9, more of them, actually only 6 of them is sold, but a more recent one sold by a day. It's up 47%. The 10's only up 20%. I'm going to guess that probably ends around 4,500 to 5K. We'll see. I will be curious. This is like, you know, some upper end Topps Chrome stuff or autos. This is the rookie card that you want if you can afford it. And boy, did it get pricey this week. In addition to that, Topps Chrome PSA 10. This is kind of like the poor man's Acuna rookie. I have one of these. This is more readily attainable. Pop count's okay on this, 7,200, not too crazy, but it is up 27% on the week. Started off the week at 300, basically just under $300, ends the week at 375. And he's just on a tear. I mean, he's definitely the front runner for NL MVP. I know that it's super early, so there's a long way to go. I almost don't even want to throw that out there. But he's got a good shot at it. The Braves are a really good team. They're going to be in the hunt all year. So as long as he stays healthy and just keeps doing what he's doing, which is probably unsustainable, but as long, just keeps doing Acuna stuff, he's going to have an absolutely monster season. And we will see where he ends up. His other big card, which I did the Star Stock video about this, and I was talking to someone at the show today, and I forget his name. I was talking about, I made the Star Stock video on Wednesday, because I was out of town the last couple of days. So I pre-recorded that to post on Friday. Well, Thursday I was out of town. Acuna had the 2 home run game. And these were ending at 550 to 575 to 600 at auction that night. And I went back to Star Stock because I had bought the one and there were still 2 left at 5. I bought mine first one at like 430 something. There was another one at 440, another one at 450. So I sold a couple things, one being a Mitchell PSA 10, which I was not planning on selling, but I ended up moving that to get this, and I bought 2 more of them. The last one sold on Star Stock today for $610, I think. I have one of mine listed kind of high, so we'll see. I don't actually know what I'm going to do with them yet. I may send 2 of them home and leave one on Star Stock. That would leave me one to sit on there and one to have at home for trade bait. And I think I'm actually just going to hold one and see what happens. So I end up having 3 of these things now. This is his first Bowman Chrome. I guess I should have said that, led with that if I didn't. This had a monster week, up from 450 up to almost 600. I've seen a couple auctions end at 600. That's a 31% jump. Pop count on this is 5,800. If you can't afford this one, the bat down, this, between this and the Topps Chrome, I guess I put my money where my mouth is and saying I would rather have the first Bowman. The interesting thing is when you compare his first Bowman Chrome to Tatis's, his is a lot cheaper. Now, there is a drastic population count difference, and I'm guessing that's what's causing the price disparity. But, I mean, Acuna's playing out of his mind, and Tatis just came back from injury. So I'm a little surprised that this is cheaper than that. But like I said, the pop count on the Tatis is quite a bit lower. So that's probably attributing to some of that. But yeah, Acuna's just on absolute fire. He's like literally the walking fire guy gif in baseball form. Just put a bat in his hand. So I continue to track his stuff. I assume, unless the guy just keeps hitting 5 home runs a week, that there is going to be a slight pullback on his stuff at some point in time. We talk about this all the time, depending on when you got in. And I know this is going to sound crazy because he's the hottest player on earth. But if you have some of his stuff, this wouldn't be the worst time to sell. A lot can happen in a baseball season. You're cashing out. You would be able to sell his stuff super easy right now, and for probably a lot more than what you paid for it. That's the reason why I listed one of these already on Star Stock. And that's the reason why I like buying multiples, is because I could sell 1 or 2 and still hold one and kind of ride it out. But I can immediately flip these 2 for $100 to $150 profit, if not more, and still have 1 left over. So we'll see how that ends up playing out, but I'm not going to hate you if you sell Acuna right now. And like I said, a lot of people will probably be like, you're absolutely nuts, but you got to take these profits where they come. These prices move fast, and we're going to talk about that and a couple other players here in a minute. But as the Card Talk Pod guys say, to give full credit where this saying comes from, you never go broke taking a profit. I don't know if they originated or not, but that's where I heard it. So next, just touching base on Soto. I went to the card show yesterday, and in my mind, I had a list of players that I was looking for. I try to walk in with some semblance of a plan. Like, these are the players that I would like to buy if I see them, versus just going in with money or trade bait in my pockets and then making poor decisions. I would really wanted a Soto Chrome. I do not have a Chrome. I have 2 Topps Update paper, but I have no Chrome, and I would like one. And I knew that prices are dipping a little bit. So the last 7 days, he's down 5 and 6%, which isn't a huge amount. But if you run this back 60 days or so, you will actually see that he is down a decent portion. His all-time high, not his all-time, actually it was his all-time high, on the Chrome was 575 back in early March. And now it's down to the mid 4s. So I really like the idea of buying Soto right now if you could get a good deal on it. Nats are struggling a little bit. He's been playing perfectly fine. He just doesn't have all the home runs that Acuna does. Acuna's getting all the buzz and all the money, and these other guys are falling through the cracks. So I don't think it would be the worst play in the world. And this could, Acuna could go on to win the NL MVP and set new records and go 40-40 or 50-50 or something batshit crazy. But I wouldn't hate you if you're selling Acuna, taking the profits, and then putting it into Soto. I really think that's how we have to play the game now. Just riding these guys forever, that's not my style anymore. It is for certain select players, and Acuna would be one of them. But once again, this is why I advocate buying multiples, because now I could sell off 2 first Bowman Acunas, still have one. That would be $1,200 if I could get $600 a piece for them. And with $1,200, I could buy almost 3 Soto Chromes, which I'm selling at an inflated number on Acuna and buying into Soto on a dip. If you just keep doing that over and over again, you're going to constantly keep building your bankroll, versus just sitting on Acuna and waiting for it to keep going up, 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 and up, because at some point in time, that's going to pull back. I'm not picking on Acuna. I'm just using this as an example because it is happening right now. You can call it player X and player Y if you want. Player X is on fire and has gone up 40% in a 2-week period. Player Y is an amazing player, just as good as player X probably, but is down 20 to 30% just because he's just been playing perfectly fine, not out of his mind. Selling player X and buying into player Y, I think in the long run is a smart play. Sure, you're going to get burn on it every once in a while, but I don't think you're going to lose doing that as often as you're going to win just sitting on player X, if that makes sense. I don't know if I explained that correctly or not, but that's my thought process in all this. It's a very long-winded explanation of Acuna and Soto charts. Sorry for that. Next up, Ohtani. Perfect example. His stuff came out of the gates bonkers, dipped a little bit. Then he had the big Sunday night baseball game, shot back up again, and he's been perfectly fine since then. He hit a home run. He hasn't pitched yet because of the blister issue since the Sunday night game. I could be wrong on that. But his stuff is now trending back down again. This is one of his main Topps Chrome rookie cards. Only 2,600 in the population count, down 20% on the week. Started the week at 266, ends the week at 210. This is another one. If we pull the charts back a little bit, let's look at a 30-day on him. You can see he was putting along throughout the spring, peaked up a little bit right before the season started. There was a sell-off, started out of the gate like gangbusters, spiked way up, went all the way from 150 to 270, and is now back down to 200 again. So it's all about riding these waves. And my guess is that this will level out relatively soon. It will be higher than the previous amount, but you could have sold up here at 270 if you stayed in. I was advocating selling back here at 209 back in mid to late March. And now we see, guess where his PSA 10 price is? Right back to where it was mid-March. It dipped down, went way back up again, and has come right back down again. And it could go right back up again. He could have a 6-inning, 7-strikeout, 2-home run game or something crazy, because he could do that, and his prices could spike back up again. But like I said, I'm all about riding these waves and trying to get out while the wave is on the way up and move into the next thing and then rinse and repeat, I think is the smart way to approach this right now. Let's talk about Tatis. Got hurt, obviously, looked really bad, is back already hit a home run, but his stuff is down a little bit on the week. It started this is his Topps Chrome, main primary card. Started the week at 380, ends the week at 328, down 13%. I'm going to be curious to see where this looks like in another week, assuming that he stays healthy and continues to play just fine and doesn't go on either a ballistic hot streak or a cold streak. I think a lot of people are worried about the shoulder for the rest of the season. Maybe not necessarily long term, but I own one of his cards. I own one Tatis Chrome. I am slightly concerned about a video clip of him doing the exact same thing over again, surfacing at some point in time in the next few weeks to months. Now, maybe stuff goes crazy between now and then. Who knows? I just have my concerns with him all of a sudden now for the rest of this season. And maybe I have no scientific data to back that up. This is the second shoulder issue he's had this year. He's had shoulder issues his entire career. With just general soreness, pain, whatever. I'm just a little bit nervous on Tatis, and I think the market is as well. And it also does not help, once again, in the baseball market, everyone's eyes are on Cuna. So his stuff is trending down. Now, personally, between Tatis and Soto, if I'm going to buy one on the dip, I'm just going to go after Soto. They are... Personally, I think Soto is a better player. Tatis is on a better team, so he has that going for him. But to me, Soto is less risky. He has the same injury risk as any other MLB player anytime they step on the field. Whereas I feel like Tatis right now has a little bit of an increased risk due to the potential shoulder re-injury. And maybe it's nothing. I'll let someone else buy the dip and take the risk on him. If it got cheap enough, I probably would get back in again. But I don't know what that number is for his Topps Chrome for me to dive back in again. Maybe it's sub 300. Maybe it's close. I don't know. But every time I would think to go buy him, I would rather just pop over and put a little bit extra money towards a Soto Chrome or something like that. So, but that's the current state of the Tatis market at the moment. I'll be very curious to see, those are the three big guys, Acuna, Soto, Tatis. Those are the guys that move the baseball market. And then other players are going to pop in and out throughout the season. That's the They are the Zion, Ja, Luka of the baseball world. Let's move into, I believe, football. Yes. Football. A couple specific things to talk about, but more of just kind of a general take on the market. Football continues to percolate. It is one of the few charts that almost everything in the top is in the green. Not huge gains. Once again, we've talked about this multiple times on what I think the football market is going to do. And so far it has done just that. It is going to be these slow incremental gains on cards with random spikes for stuff that pops into the news. But you can see we scroll down this. I have this sorted by football, PSA 10, and number of sales to give you a frame of reference here. Number one at the top is Kyler Murray base Donruss for number of sales, which seems kind of weird. But it's the only one that's slightly down, and it's only down a couple percentage points. Everything else is doing these little 5% to 7% jumps outside of people in the news and some other random hops here and there. For whatever reason, and maybe I missed something on this. Like I said, I was traveling a little bit this week. Drew Lock had a big jump at 48% from 75 to 110. And then Josh Allen has seen a pretty big bump this week across the board. I didn't hear the Bills doing anything crazy in free agency or with the team. I have to imagine that someone somewhere probably recommended Allen as a buy, causing a spike. Typically, when I see things like that without news to back them up, I just assume someone somewhere said something. But in general, the football market continues to be the football offseason market. Small tick ups here and there, with very few to small downturns. You see Darnold coming back a little bit, makes sense because he got the huge spike from the trade, and then everyone else is either flat or up these very small percentage points. I've heard talk on, I think Flipping Steve was talking about this. I think Personal Finance Dad was talking about this. Maybe Comeback Card Investor. They were all on each other's different live streams this past week, and I was catching bits and pieces of them talking about leaving the football market to come back to buy back in after the draft in the summer lull. I don't know that happens. So essentially, their premise is that once we get past the draft, the NFL news cycle is going to slow down. So, the draft's in April, end of the month. And then as we move into May and June, it's going to be kind of a quiet time for football. Free agency's done. We're past the draft. And then in July, camps open up, and that's when the news cycle starts picking up again. So their theory is that May to June window is going to be the buyback in window. And they could very well be right. I personally think the football market is going to keep doing this with these very small raises of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% on random cards each week. I just don't see a pullback happening. There's really no reason to start selling football off, and that's usually what causes prices to decrease. So if prices start to slip a little bit at all on somebody, people will just stop selling it. They'll just wait till closer to the football season, and you're seeing that already. I was at the show yesterday, and I wanted to buy some Baker Mayfield, and I could have, but there was very specific Baker cards I was looking for, and the one guy had some, but he wasn't selling them yet, and he did not have them on the table, so it wasn't one of those situations. He was showing me stuff that he had in his case underneath the table, and he had a really nice Baker Select that I wanted, but he wasn't selling it yet. He said, I'm holding all this Baker stuff until closer to the season. So I think a lot of people are doing that. So if prices do slip on football, I think they'll just pull the inventory closer to the chest, and that actually could drive up prices even more. And then I think once 4th of July rolls around, you're going to see prices really start to tick up from July until about August. That's my thought process. That's my prediction. We'll see what actually happens. They could be right. I could be right. We both could be right. Certain players will probably go up. Certain players will probably go down. We'll see what happens. Time will tell. I did want to look at two players specifically. One, Watson has hit the bottom. His price on his PSA 10 Silver Prism bottomed out at 566 this past week and has spiked back up to around 670. So if you're wondering what the bottom is, it's right around 566. I don't know if Watson goes down anymore. We will see. But I'm going to imagine it's going to be a situation where we see these spikes. Someone has probably said like 550, 575 is my number. I'm buying back in. So my guess is we see it spike back up a little bit, and then it'll probably sneak back down a little bit. Someone will activate buy mode at around 550, causing it to spike back up a little bit, so on and so forth. We usually see this when cards start to hit the bottom. It starts doing this up, down, up, down, up, down approach until it kind of levels itself out at a certain number. Obviously, this can change quickly with news. If more women come out against him and more stuff happens, it could drop again. I could easily seeing him being put on the commissioner's exempt list. A lot of sponsors dropped him. If that happens, he could see a price decrease again. If all of a sudden it comes out tomorrow that everything was perfectly fine and normal and this was all on the up and up, I highly doubt that. His prices would skyrocket. Personally, I'm not risking it. It's still too much money for me to be able to put this into him. And I just don't think it makes sense for me particularly. If you have tons and tons of cash laying around, sure, you want to take a flyer on him. you could see a massive return. You could also completely lose everything. This is high risk, high reward. I just don't see it for myself personally. I am not touching any of his stuff unless it is absolutely dirt cheap and someone else will buy it before it gets to that point. Other thing I wanted to check in on was Herbert Select. So Select just came out. There are 4 levels now. There is a club level, a concourse, a field level, and premier. So I was curious to see what the sales counts looked like for the last 7 days to try to get an idea of how many or how rare these things are going to be. I'm actually going to push this back a little bit further to when Select first got put in the market movers. And I was also curious to see where the prices are at on this. And this is just base cards. So as it currently sits, his field level, and this is just base, not silver, is sitting at 525. His club level, which is the next one down now, is sitting at 21. Is sitting at 122 for the price. Then Premier at 113 and Concourse at 91. And then what I was really curious about are the sales numbers. So base level Concourse, which is the entry level Select, is at 82. Premier is at 42. Club level is at 21. And field level is at 12. And if you feel like you need a flow chart, I don't blame you, or a scorecard. So I am very curious on a couple different things with Select Football. One is how this new 3rd, 4th level, I guess, of Select plays in the market. I personally think it's going to hurt the value of Premier going forward because I feel like Premier population counts are going to be a lot higher and club level is going to be the new base card rookie that's semi-reasonable that you want. You know, the field level and courtside stuff in Select always gets a ton of respect and sells for astronomical sums of money. Premier in basketball is slowly becoming, which I know it's kind of a short print parallel, but it's kind of becoming the base card rookie that you want versus like Prism base. Select Premier's passed up most of those. That is not translated over to football. I'm just very interested in what the spread in price is going to be on club level versus Premier versus Concourse. Like I said, field level always gets the respect. That card will be priced appropriately, but I will be very, very curious to see how this one shakes out. And to be honest with you, right now, it looks like people aren't realizing how short printed these are. You know, when you look at these numbers, so 12 field levels sold for 525. That seems perfectly normal to me. The number and the price. When we drop down the club level in Premier's selling for 113 and 42 have sold in the last I ran this back 14 days, but it hasn't been a full 14. Club level, only 21 have sold. So half the amount, but it's only a $10 difference in price. So this tells me club level not getting the respect. And I'm guessing it's because people probably barely realize it exists. That's a long way of saying once prices level out, you know, wait for prices to level out. Don't buy in the new releases right off the get. I have a feeling I think the play is going to be to look for club levels because I think they're going to be undervalued to start. Load up on those once prices level out. And then, you know, once you figure out a grading situation, send them in to get graded. But I do feel like club levels are going to be underrated for a while. And I'm also very curious to see what Select numbers look like with retail now in the game. So let's move on to basketball and then wrap up because this feels like I am going long. Shocking, I know. The Sunday show going over 30 minutes. Who would have ever thought? Basketball. I'll keep this quick. I have one specific player to talk about and then just some general market thoughts. Shocking. Tell me where you've heard this before. The modern NBA market remains flat. We're continuing to see the same things. If anything, it's actually creeping down a little bit more. Some stuff slowly going up. Zion continues to do his anywhere from 1 to 4% a week thing, with it not really cracking $700. Every time it cracks 700, it seems to pull back a little bit or get close to it. Just can't seem to break through that. I think part of that has to do with they're probably not making the playoffs. If they do, it'll definitely be via the play-in game. So we'll see what happens there. Same thing with Morant. His stuff continues to backslide, and his stuff just keeps getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. $335 now for a base Prism PSA 10 Ja. And they're basically locked in for the play-in game. I don't think they're going to get to a 6 seed. I'd be shocked. But in my opinion, they're a lock for the play-in game. And if they can win a play-in game and then, run up against the Jazz in round 1, they'll probably get smoked. But a full series of Morant in the playoffs would at least be interesting to see how he does on that level. RJ Barrett up towards the top, trending down slightly. Porter Jr. up a little bit. He's been getting a ton of buzz lately from myself and from a lot of other people. He's been the talk of the town, but then I think the wind got taken out of his sails with the Jamal Murray injury. It's a blessing and a curse for Porter. He probably gets to put up bigger numbers, but it hurts the Nuggets for a deep playoff run, which is probably more important for Porter's prices than anything. I still like MPJ as a long-term hold and will be perfectly fine holding him in the next season if he does not pop off. I really like his game. And then you scroll down here. Once again, stuff just keeps continuing to trend downwards. Luka Prism Base keeps doing its dance. It gets slightly below 1,200. And then some weeks it goes up to 1,300. And then it goes back down to around 1,200. It can't make up its mind. It's basically about a $1,200 card. You could probably get it around for 1,100, maybe even 1,000 off eBay. I wouldn't pay anything over that though on eBay. It'd be foolish to spend 12K. I'm sorry, not 12K, 1,200 on this card when they are readily available. And I think you could find them fairly cheap. One thing I did notice from the show, and maybe I'll do a longer form video on this, I don't know. A lot of people that I talk to are down on Prism Base and are trying to get off Prism Base. And I think you are seeing that in the charts. So, as we've been talking about a lot on here, go for either parallels or selector optic, I think is the play in basketball right now. I think a lot of people, at least for the 18-19 classes and newer, are trying to get off their Prism Base because they are seeing what's happening with the population counts on these cards. Plus the PSA backlog once that stuff starts coming back. So we'll see how that plays out. One particular player I did want to check in on is Lamello. Just take a peek at his raw Prism and his silver Prism at current prices. They continue to trend down. His Prism Base is down 20%. His Prism Silver is down 15%. Once again, this is pretty normal stuff because this is still a pretty new card and the market is still trying to find itself on it. I do know a PSA 10 Prism Base went for, I think, 1,800, which is absolutely ludicrous. I think that was earlier this week. I tried to find the listing. I couldn't find it on eBay. I'm pretty sure that sold on eBay at auction for over 1,800. That's just nuts. Like, what are we doing, people? It's a brand new release. It's Prism Base. There's going to be a billion of these things. Everybody just relax. So don't freak out. And, if it's a first off the line blue shimmer numbered to 35 or whatever those are numbered for, and you want to make a play on that off the get, I get it. Because there's only 35 of them. You don't know when the next one's going to show up. But it's a Prism Base. There's going to be like 20,000 of these things in a PSA 10. Everybody just relax. Just wait another month and buy it. Now, I know that his prices may be slightly artificially inflated due to artificial scarcity in a PSA 10 because of the grading situation. But still, chill. Don't pay $1,800 for a LaMelo Ball Prism Base PSA 10. Even at 150, his base seems high, in my opinion. We'll see where that ends up leveling out at. I'm going to guess around 100 for a while, maybe 125. We'll see. It's weird with him actually being hurt and not playing, I think actually helps his prices because it's all hopes and dreams. You know, it's not his fault they got eliminated from the playoffs. He's already eliminated from the playoffs. So the Lamello market is hopes and dreams. There's no reality to base it on right now because he's out. So I think that actually helps his prices stay higher than what they would naturally be. Because if he was playing, they're probably going to lose in round 1. And if not, then definitely round 2. It's not like they're going to be a deep playoff team. But even with him, they probably had a decent chance to get bounced in round 1. And if that's the case, I think his prices would have dipped even harder because he got, quote unquote, eliminated from the playoffs. Now he doesn't have that narrative around him. It's kind of weird how the market works. So that's all for the charts and graphs today. So, you know, do the YouTube stuff down below, like, comment, sub, all that jazz. And then let's do a quick Sunday spotlight and get out of here because this video is running very long. Swaggle House, comics and games. One of my favorite comic book channels to watch. It says and games. He rarely talks about games. It's pretty much all comics. Not a lot of graded talk like CGC 9.8s or anything like that, but just good general comic book talk. Some stuff on like what's hot in the market. Talks about some undervalued stuff, overvalued stuff, etc. Doesn't get super hypey. Just a good, nice, even-keeled comic book channel. He's at like 4.3K subs. Puts out a few videos a week. But yeah, he is Swaggle House ends the show as the Sunday spotlight for this week. So if you are looking for good comic book YouTube information, strongly recommend. Upcoming stuff for this week, and then we will get out of here. Sports card show video, I believe, is going to drop on Tuesday. Monday, I think I am going to do a Marvel trading card update market / pop report video. It's been a couple weeks since I did one, so I think that's going to be Monday's video. Wednesday is probably going to be a PSA submission reveal. I have an economy order on its way back to me right now. It is somewhere in the middle of the United States, according to USPS tracking. It's moving between destinations. Your package is still on time. I believe that when it updates. But hopefully that's here Monday like it's supposed to be. And that'll be a reveal video on that. I know the grades already. I am weak and I peaked. And I'm not even going to say it. We'll wait for the reveal video on Wednesday for that one. So if anyone follows me or is in the SCI Discord already, I have talked about how I did on that submission. That is an economy order from August that I sent, and it was checked in September 4th, I think. But I'll look at all the details. It'll be in the video. So, all right, guys and girls, we are out of here. Like, comment, sub, all the YouTube stuff. Have a great Sunday. We'll catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.